We're recording now. All right. So we tried to do a riding home, and then storage and technical issues happened to the five people that were really hanging on by a thread. All right. Well, first let's do this. So because I have it right here. Uh, you picked 42-10.
Yep.
I picked 52-6. So
Where'd we end up?
that was
49,
48,
40,
40,
49?
49-14 or 21.
I think it's 49-21.
Yeah, so I guess technically I was closer on the Georgia number. You were closer to the UAB number. So congrats, we split. um. Anyway, so let's just do positives from the UAB game, and then let's get into the game preview of Auburn.
Positives, offense definitely looked better. Um, I know we're talking about positives, so I'll keep it there. I thought um, it started to gel a little bit more. You could tell, and I've said this all along. Offense is going to get better as the year goes along because there's been a lot of transition, right? But
Yeah.
so that
6 for
started to
6
look
in the
better,
red zone, by the way.
huh?
6 for 6 in the red zone.
Yeah, specifically the red zone
Yeah.
and the execution there, a lot better. Didn't have to rely on field goal kicker. So I don't know if that's good or bad. I'd like to kind of know what we have there. But anyway, so the positive is, yeah, execution in the red zone, definitely better. I thought we used more, especially second half. We started using more of the field. I don't know if that makes sense, but um, so I think we turned back loose a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought that was good. What else? That would be the positives from my standpoint.
We'll do negatives, I guess, next. I would say my positives would be the offense is it's not it's not where it needs to be, and it probably won't be this week, but you can see it starting to come together. It looks there's a little bit more of a semblance, and I think that's probably because Bobo knows the personnel a lot better and knows the tendencies of the team. The offense, the red zone was another positive, going for 6. That was huge
Yep.
because next week or this week, that's an important stat. Auburn, I think, has one of the better red zone defenses in the country, so that's pretty big. And then I guess the other positive was Dejon Edwards. Uh, I mean,
It
he
makes a
really
difference,
changes.
right?
It's a huge difference in the running game. Offensive line played a little bit better. Truss played better. Dylan Fairchild, he impressed me. I was pleasantly
Yeah.
surprised with him.
I mean, from what I can tell, run blocking especially, he's a mauler, dude.
Yeah,
He'll get in there and
yeah.
yeah,
And I like that with him and Tate and Cedric Van Pran right there in the middle. That's tough. Ernest Green still got to work on some things, but whatever. I'm not going to armchair offensive line coach this. And then another, I guess another positive. Two more positives. I thought Warren Brinson played really well on
did. I
defense.
agree.
Um,
He flashed, right? He
yeah,
was dominant
he
at
was
certain
very dominant.
points.
He
Yeah,
was his best game.
I agree.
Um, and I thought well, I had another point, and it just now has completely escaped me. But Warren Brinson played really well. If I come up, Brock Bowers. Exactly the first 3 weeks he's kind of forgotten by Mike Bobo, and then now he's remembered. But good to see him get the ball. He needs to get more touches. I don't. I know defenses are they're doing everything they can to stop him, but they did that last year, and he ended up going for more yards than he did his freshman year.
Yeah, I
So,
would say we have underutilized him this year, and
and
I don't know if that's you know, if that's because maybe he's been a little banged up, right?
probably.
And we haven't needed to, yeah.
Well, yeah.
But anyway, I agree.
All right.
All those were positives.
Yeah. And then you I'll start off with the negatives. You can tell we really miss Javion Bullard. That's
On
a negative.
defense, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a negative. I thought the defensive secondary, there were times where it just was not where it needed to be against UAB. I thought defensively as a whole, it was probably their worst game, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
The starting defense only gave up 14 points, but that was probably the worst game they played. They looked confused out there at times. And then I guess offensively, I know what you're going to say, so go ahead and say your negative.
Offensively, I think there may be a bigger purpose because just it's just a guy that's got no hair left. I don't know anything, but whenever you start like throwing it sideways, it becomes so predictable. And number two, if you're going to do that, and I could see perhaps why Georgia's doing this, they want to see how they're doing on perimeter blocking. So far, they've been really bad. So, number one, throwing the ball sideways, it's got to have a deeper purpose, and perhaps there is. But if you're going to do it, you got to be able to block consistently on the outside, and we have underperformed in that area. So,
Yeah,
first half was, would you not agree? First half of that game, it got really predictable and
the first
it
half of
wasn't
the
very
UAB game.
effective. Huh?
The UAB game.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. They scored 28 points in the first half.
That was complimentary football. That wasn't necessarily always because the offense ran
Well,
effectively.
I see. No, I'm going to disagree with you. They had the ball. They went on a 2-minute drive. They left time on the clock with 3 timeouts. They very easily could have gone for a 2-for-1 on that. Now, the defense definitely helped them with the turn of the pick, getting to the red zone. But the offense, that was first down. But irregardless, defense probably gets a stop on that drive, and Georgia gets the ball at the 50 on their own 45 with like 2 minutes and like a change. So I don't know. I thought they played okay. First half.
In the first half,
I
thought it was.
say it was a B. It wasn't an A, but 28 points in the first half is pretty. That's pretty good.
I don't know. I would like to see a little bit more, I guess is what I'm saying. Consistency. They took so I do give them, kudos.
They're not going to play perfect. I don't.
I understand that, Max. I'm not saying they have to play perfect, but more consistent. And if it gets predictable where you're throwing the ball sideways, and everybody in the stadium knows it's a problem, man. It's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, but I think they're also guarding the offensive playbook. I think Bobo.
I think they're protecting Beck, and I think they know that perimeter blocking. I hope I'm right. That they need to work on it. So they've taken the first 4 games to try to get better and put it on film to show these guys they have to be better. Because I do think throwing side to side is important. Munkin did it. But you also have to couple that with using all area of the field, which in the second half I thought we did a better job of.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right. Well, we got that out of the way. And that was, I don't even know how long we've been recording.
We didn't take any time on the negatives when it came to special teams.
Well, that's pretty fucking apparent to anybody, unless you're blind. I mean, that was bad.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Stop turning the ball over. How about that?
All right. So let's get into the Deep South's oldest rivalry.
Nice
Georgia,
transition.
huh? What'd you say?
I said nice transition.
Yeah, I'm golden at those. Georgia's a 14.5-point favorite on the road going into Jordan-Hare. Auburn lost 27-10 against A&M last week. What are your initial thoughts on the game?
I think it's going to be really hard for Auburn to beat Georgia. I think based on what I've seen, it was a really hard watching them against Texas A&M. I couldn't stay up to watch the Auburn Cal game. I'm old, man, but offensively, Auburn really struggles. I think would be the appropriate word, which is hard to understand from a Hugh Freeze team. But
Right.
first year, all that kind of stuff. Good athletes at quarterback. Kirby said that. I think that's accurate.
The
But
Ashford kid's probably the best quarterback athletic wise, I think.
athletically, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. But passing wise, I don't. Yeah.
You know.
So
He
I
plays
think it's going to be hard for Auburn to score against Georgia. What would it take for Georgia to lose? I could see this being a knife fight in the first half. Momentum, right? Crowd noise, first start for Beck. I could see this being even Georgia being down potentially. I don't think this Georgia team is going to be as dominant as we've seen. Now, that's my thoughts, but I also consider this if we're starting to say that Georgia is gelling offensively, this should be a breakout game for them. If the defense, if they're healthy, if Bullard's back, in other words, what I'm saying to you is a lot of people are questioning whether or not Georgia needs to be first. I think that's probably fair, quite honestly. If they want to make a statement, this weekend's the time to make that statement. Go on the road and just beat the dog shit out of Auburn and give them no life. That would give me encouragement that this team can win a national championship. If we go in there, get in a knife fight, and come out of there with a 10, 14-point victory, I'm not going to be disappointed. Shit, I'm going to take a win. But it's also going to tell me, hey, we're not there yet. This
right.
is
The
not.
questions will still linger.
Yeah. Do you think that's all that's fair?
Yeah, I do. I think it's all fair, but I'm going to disagree. I think this is the breakout point for Georgia. I don't think Auburn's that great. And I know there's been a lot of people whispering about how Auburn and Hugh Freeze and Georgia's on the road and Jordan Hare and all that bullshit. I think this is time where Georgia steps it up. Lad McConkey is he's gonna play. I don't know how much, but he's gonna play. So and he's owned Auburn. Bullard's probably going to be back. Milton will be back. We're going to be healthier.
You think Milton's going to play?
I think Milton's going to play. He practiced.
All right.
And if you practice, you play. That's Kirby Smart's rule. So, I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's going to be a knife fight. It's going to be one of those, defensive battle games." It very well could be. There's like a 5% chance that happens in my mind.
I'd put it higher than that.
Well, that's great. I've watched Auburn. I've watched every single game of Auburn's. There's no excuse, no matter what time of day the game is played, where the game is played, that Auburn. I mean, they were lucky to pull that win off against Cal. I mean, they were lucky. Cal kept giving them chances to win the game, and Auburn never could close the door. And Auburn gave Cal chances, and Cal could never do anything. And then you see what happened to A&M. A&M is not even as good as Georgia is.
I would agree with that.
They're not even.
They were playing at A&M, right?
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm just saying.
I don't care where the game's at. Auburn is just if they were in the same realm as A&M, the game would have been a lot easier watch. They wouldn't have 3 points offensively.
Let me ask you this. Compared to the teams that have won, and I know this is not fair, so teams are different, situations are different, years are different, but this year's team compared to the previous two national championship teams, to go into Jordan Hare and just stomp the dog shit out of Auburn, where do you put this team?
To be able to do it?
Yeah.
I'd say the chances are very high.
Really?
I do. And I know
I hope you're right, bro.
it has nothing to do with how the season. Well, kind of in some ways it does, but it has nothing to do with how the season's shaped up. I honestly, honest to God, and I could be so wrong Saturday, and I'll eat my words, but I think they have been holding back. And I really do. I think they've been holding a lot back. I think they knew going into that South Carolina game. The coaches did. They knew the weather. It wasn't going to be pretty. They knew what South Carolina did matched up well against Georgia. They just didn't have the horses. What does Auburn do well that matches up? Because I could have sat, and I think we talked about it with the South Carolina game. I said South Carolina has the ability to pass the ball. Spencer Rattler, that could cause a problem. There's nothing that Auburn does that will make you shit down your leg.
Well, you have to account for the quarterback, right? So, and Kirby's defense.
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
You also have to threaten them with the pass, and I don't
They can't.
Exactly.
So, and I don't care if the ghost of Pat dies on the sideline. Unless Carson Beck throws 3 interceptions and we can't kick field goals, and
So I'm saying, but would you agree that is possible?
Carson Beck throwing it. Well, here's the thing: Auburn's going to have to score a defensive touchdown to win this game.
Yeah, maybe.
That's not. I don't think that's possible.
You don't think throwing a pick six is possible?
I mean, of course we're playing football. Anything's possible, but is it higher than 80% for them getting a pick six? No. Is it higher than 70%? No. It's more like a 32% chance that it happens.
What? I don't know how you're coming up with this math.
I don't know
congratulations. MIT must be proud. I don't know, but I've seen Carson Beck throw some balls and guys miss blocks, which I go back to.
Look,
on the perimeter, there was one like this weekend, right? Where if Delp hadn't have broke that pass up, it was going to be a pick six. Remember that?
No, it was against South Carolina.
Was that against?
Yeah, South Carolina.
There was one of them where I'm like, number one, shit, perimeter blocking broke down. Number two, Delp shouldn't have thrown the ball. And I'm not trying to be hypercritical, but I'm just saying that stuff can happen in a game with crowd noise, people getting nervous. I don't know how this team.
I don't know if this kid's gonna. I don't think Beck's gonna get nervous.
You don't?
No, I think he's kind of unflappable.
All right. Well,
I do. Maybe I'm just delusional. I'm a delusional Georgia fan. There's many of us, so
I'm just saying I don't know. I think you're probably right. I mean, the kid's been around the program. He seems like he's a fairly mature kid. So I would tend to agree with you.
Yeah,
but we haven't seen it, right? This is unknown.
I'm just tired of all the fucking Georgia fans on pins and needles thinking that the shoe's going to drop. This is different. I will eat my words if I'm wrong, but this is just a different program than 10 years ago.
No, stop. I agree with that.
Just stop being on pins and needles. We're going to go into Auburn and we're going to kick the shit out of them. I have no doubt in my mind. The South Carolina game, I was worried about. And I think I told you that. I said there's weird vibes around there. And look what happened. There was weirdness that happened. I don't have any, it's Thursday of recording this. I haven't had any inclination that Georgia's going to lose this game or have a knife fight in this game. I just haven't had that.
Here's what I would say. I agree with you.
Right about
in general.
And usually I'm right about those type of things.
No, I agree with you in general. Georgia is just they're a program that whenever they step out of the bus or come out of the club, they expect to win, and they're athletically superior to most programs. So if you've got those two things working, and you got everybody pulling on the same side of the rope, which they are seemingly, and I can't argue they're not, they're going to be pretty tough to beat. And I would also say, up to this point, Georgia's always been a really disciplined team that doesn't hurt itself.
Right.
by and large.
Right.
So when you get all those factors, they're pretty damn tough to beat. So I would agree with that. I would just say that my confidence as of now, and again, not fair, doesn't take the same team. I don't think this is going to be the same team if we get healthy and continue to.
I think these teams will be better if we
I
get
do. I think so. A lot better as we go along the season. I'm just saying, I don't know yet. I've got to see it, and then once I see it, I believe it. But I have. But what I can see is a knife fight for a half.
It might be, maybe for a quarter. I just don't.
Really?
Yeah, man. I'm just not. I'm not. I've watched way too much Auburn, which is sad. But because I hate Hugh Freeze, and we'll get to him in a minute, and then we'll go into predictions and we'll end it. But because they overhauled that roster completely. And every Auburn fan on social media is like, "Oh, this is the new, oh boy, this is Auburn. We're coming, Georgia and Alabama." And they look like shit. And maybe next year they might be the team. They might be that guy, but they're not. They're just not. And to pull up an upset against Georgia, and you have to get turnovers. B, you have to have a dynamic quarterback. You can have a quarterback that plays out of his head, and
You got to be able to score more than 30 points, right?
Yeah. Well, that one time South Carolina, but they don't have that. They don't even have that offense. In 2019, it was Mike Bobo calling against Georgia's defense. I mean, I know Hugh Freeze, he's only beaten Kirby 3 times, but he has his number. So whatever. But I don't. And did you hear? Did you hear about what Hugh Freeze said about he doesn't know when to call plays because he has
it's hard for him, and
this is a disaster zone right now, and they have no idea. So even if you think that Hugh Freeze has Kirby's number, Hugh Freeze has to be calling the plays. He's not calling the plays. He doesn't even know when to call plays. So it might be a fight for a quarter. We might be down 10-3 or 10-7 at the end of the first quarter. But I guarantee you when the second and the third and the fourth, Georgia will be in the lead. I'm just not – there's no doubt in my mind.
Well,
and if they don't, then we have a serious – if we don't and if we win by 3 points, 10 points, whatever, or we lose, we have a major problem. And if Georgia loses, I don't think they have we'll see. But then another loss is coming around the corner.
Here's what I would say. Would you think this would be a fair statement? If Georgia, I think, has not beat the spread all year long, 14.5 on the road, but in the eyes of everybody, if Georgia beats the spread on the road this week, that would tell me that this team is very, very capable of winning a national championship. If we win by 10, 12, we don't beat the spread, in other words, it's not a reason to panic. It's just you're not as confident about it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I guess we'll go into this. Auburn supposedly they're having an orange out, so look out. But
that's intimidating.
Yeah, it really is. But the rumors are Auburn's wearing their orange jerseys. So the last time they wore those, by the way, Georgia beat them. So 1980. So on the road. Fun fact for you. So that'll probably be something if they do it. I doubt it, but they might, which would be hilarious if they get the shit kicked out of them wearing their orange jerseys.
You put a lot more stock in the stuff than I do.
Well, it's juice, man. I mean, they've talked about that for years. It's like us with the black jerseys. When it first happened, whenever it first happened, that was I wear this shirt because that meant a lot at the time for the program. That was different. It was unique. Georgia never really done something like that before.
And we kicked the shit out of them.
And we beat the shit out of them. And it's a momentum thing. I know you don't put any stock in that, but that is a momentum thing. It's psychological. I don't know how to explain it. It is.
All right. Well,
Like, you're not from this generation, so fuck off.
I am not, man.
But anyway, let's talk about Hugh Freeze. I wrote it in the blog, Don the Dog. Check it out. I Hugh Freeze, I hate him. Because I can't on the blog. I was much nicer because I didn't want to get in trouble with anybody. But I hate Hugh Freeze. I hate him a lot. And well, do you want to take it for a minute? Do you want to take over this or no? You
I
want to?
don't have the deep. I'm gonna be like
I
him.
do. I
I don't
do.
have the deep hate for him like you do. I think he's a really good coach and a flawed human being. And I
That's
think,
great.
huh?
I said that's great. That's wonderful. I think he's a fucking asshole, and I think he's a fuckhead. I really hate him. Uh, he's the type of person that hides behind his religion to cast stones at people, and those are the people I really despise. I truly despise him. Whatever he does on the football field, I'll always hate him. If he died tomorrow, I wouldn't care. So I really hate him. And then on social media, Auburn has control of his social media, right?
Yeah,
Because he
with
goes
good
after
reason,
people.
right?
Huh?
With good reason, right?
Yeah, because he goes after people and he goes after journalists. He goes after bloggers. He's a fucking. I hate him. And he talks about being such a good person, and then he is over there banging 20 prostitutes on his burner phone. So how good of a person are you, Hugh? And then he has the whole apology thing as soon as he got the Auburn job on Paul Feinbaum, talking about how he found his faith again. Fuck off. It's so annoying to me. He's so grimy,
I
sanctimonious.
agree. Yes, all those things. I just
But he can coach an offense. I'd rather have Bobby Petrino because Bobby Petrino doesn't pretend that he's something that he's not. He's
I
a
don't
better
know.
offensive coordinator. So
You think he's a better offensive coordinator?
yeah, look at
Really?
those offenses that Bobby Petrino had at Arkansas.
Well, I know. I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, I do too. But okay, so there's that. But then his comments on the Georgia Auburn rivalry. It's about love of the competition of Auburn people. Just again, it's just another example of what a grimy, low life person he is. I cannot stand him. I hate Auburn. I hate everything about him. I never have liked him. And it really, see, in my life, I mean, there was the beginning portion of me watching Georgia football. It was a friendly rivalry. It's your cousin. You pull for them whenever they're not playing for you or playing against you. There's that big crossover, Dooley and Pat Dye and all that. And then it took a turn whenever Aaron Murray got raped by Nick Fairley multiple times. So,
Uh,
so it took a turn, and it was nothing that Georgia did. It was everything that Auburn did. And Auburn fans, by the way, I hope they find this video because they're worse than Alabama. They're worse than Tennessee. They're the worst.
nah.
Auburn, no. Auburn fans, look, I'm looking into the camera right now. Auburn fans are the worst fan base in all of the SEC. They are. They're number one to me. They're the most annoying fan base. They're a cult. I hate them. I cannot stand Auburn, and they hate us for no reason. We didn't do anything, and then they made it an unfriendly rivalry, and I didn't really appreciate that at all.
I don't hate him as much as you do.
I hate them.
I look at it more like you said. It's. I know a lot of Georgia fans and Auburn fans. They're a very similar fan base. I don't understand how you can live in Georgia and be an Auburn fan. It just really bothers me.
Well, because they can't get into because of hope standards. Retards.
But it's a tough fought game. We don't want to lose, and I don't. Hey, look, there's a lot of people who have a real problem. They play that right on the big screen. Where
and they also do the one where who's the wide receiver that got knocked out by the Auburn and going across the middle? Was it Reggie Brown?
I don't remember.
Anyway, they play that too.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, they're not my favorite. I don't like them, but I don't hate. I don't.
I genuinely hate them. I hate them. I hate them with a burning passion.
I would be more toward Florida when it comes to that.
Oh, it's not even close. Florida's a different thing. Like I'll pull for Auburn whenever I need to pull for them. I can't ever pull for Florida in any regard.
Florida.
That's not even a comparison. It's not even the same thing. That's different. Tim Tebow ruined me going trick or treating forever. So
also, I would say Tennessee's fan base is worse than Auburn's. By the way, they're
buddy,
the most delusional
you need
hillbilly
to go on social
southern
media.
fucking people.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. There is another, but yeah, I hate Auburn fans. I hate that Auburn cried. They cried to the SEC to move the game out of November because they had to play Alabama 2 weeks after us. Georgia played Florida, Auburn, and Tech at the end of the year for over 100 years.
You do get their inferiority complex, though. I mean, they're sandwiched between Alabama and Georgia, so that's the reason to bitch and cry and moan and cheat to win.
Well, yeah, whatever. Don't be pussies about it. That's all. You took something out of this rivalry whenever you moved it from November. That game meant because if this game was played in November, now it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. But look at 2019. Georgia had to win that game to get into the SEC championship. And Auburn there's a fruit fly that keeps coming across my eyes. But Auburn came a gnat's eyelash away from beating Georgia in that year, and Georgia wouldn't have gone to the SEC championship. They took an element of that game and they took it away because they have an inferior complex and they cry. I can't stand it. Georgia for over 75 years had the hardest schedule, and you never heard us once complain about it. Never did. Dooley talked about it, by the way. Fun fact for everybody. I watched it. Is it Harrogate? Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know. What are you talking
Hargrett? Harrogate, yeah. Harrogate Library, which is it keeps films and stuff, it preserves history. They did a sit down interview with Dooley, and it was 7 parts. And I watched a vast majority of it. And Dooley talked about Georgia having one of the hardest schedules, and he goes, "Well, that was our tradition. We played Florida, we played Auburn the next week, had somebody else, and then we played Tech, and that's the end of the you have to run that gauntlet at the end of the year." He didn't complain about it; he just did it. So, and that's another reason. And then I hate him because of the back-to-back years. Whenever Missouri and A&M, and they bitched and moaned about that. That miracle in Jordan Hare would never happen if it was at Sanford Stadium. So there's another
also one. By the way, I was of the generation when they turned the water hoses on.
No, that's another. Yeah.
I don't like them because
they also
bullshit.
Well, yeah, and then also they threw bourbon in Larry Munson's face in 1982.
Yeah,
I looked that up. Fuck you for doing that. That's a piece of shit move.
Well, you're talking me into hating. I don't hate them. I really do.
I can sit here. I can do a whole presentation on them. I really dislike Auburn.
I dislike Tennessee.
Well, that's because you're going to college at Georgia in the 90s, and that was Tennessee and Florida were the two biggest tests that Georgia had. Growing up, it was Florida and Auburn, and Tech was way down there, and Tennessee was dead. Both of them were dead. So I don't have the same burn. I mean, I hate Tennessee, but they're fourth. Honestly, they're behind Tech.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Nah, they're ahead of Tech for me.
I had Tech. I mean, I know Tech people. They're so. I had to go to school with them. I hate them. I really dislike them.
I don't like them, but I don't hate them.
They're in trouble too, by the way.
About what?
Tech?
Yeah.
Well, Clemson's probably going to leave. Clemson and North Carolina.
Yeah.
Clemson and North Carolina are going to get an invite to the Big Ten because some reason they figured it out. We'll see. It's all rumored right now, but and then they'll probably wait for the SEC. Tech's they're in a precarious spot, and I know this is really disgusting to say as a Georgia fan. By the way, did you hear that ring?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's got to stop. They're in a precarious situation, and I hate saying this as a Georgia fan, but something's Tech needs to fix. They need help.
Well, I mean, I think the guy they
I'm worried about Tech. There
having a program.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
as a
I'm
tradition,
worried about a lot of these schools having a program. It's going to wash out over the next 5 years. Like Wake Forest, I'd put in that. I put Vanderbilt in that category.
well, Vanderbilt's going to be okay.
I don't know how they're going to compete, dude. I just don't see
Vanderbilt won't ever compete. They'll be okay. They'll have a football program because they're in the SEC. They'll get the money. Tech, I'm really worried about, and I hate. It's disgusting. It makes me feel dirty whenever I say this. And I know we're supposed to be previewing Georgia Auburn, but it's sad. If it'll be a sad day if Tech doesn't get to play football against Georgia, and you lose something, a lot of history and a lot of tradition in college football.
I agree.
Happens.
Yeah.
So,
but whose fault is that?
That's Tech's fault.
Yeah.
It's Tech's fault. It's Tech's fault for not prioritizing Georgia, kids from Georgia and trying to be an international school and not paying attention to athletics. It's all their fault, and that's why they don't have as big as a fan base as they used to.
Yeah.
So, but if there is a Tech person out there, I feel sorry for y'all, and I hope that you survive, and I'll be pulling for you to survive. Outside of that, that's the only time I'll survive.
Where you and I differ, I ain't gonna feel sorry for a Tech fan. Fuck them.
I feel sorry in that regard. Like pat on the head, rustle their hair.
I have family members that are Tech fans that I have absolutely no idea how that can happen. Wow. And I just discard them from being a logical human being. So,
all right, let's get into. I guess we know where I lay in the prediction of the. Well, you know what? Before we do that, let's make it quick. What would you like to see on Saturday?
I would like to see consistency from the offense, right? Like execution. I know that's a very easy thing to say, but let's stay out of third and medium, third and long. Let's not shoot ourselves in the red zone. Let's execute when we get in the red zone. Let's get points, preferably touchdowns. But that would be number one. Number two, I would like to have a clean game on special teams. Just clean. Doesn't have to be phenomenal. Just clean. And then on defense, I would like to see, I don't know, a little more pressure. I think Auburn's offensive line, I think they're vulnerable to that. Let's not be what are we last in sacks? And I know sacks aren't everything in football, but they were last.
We might be close to last, or we might be.
We are. But anyway, I'd like to see a sacked quarterback, and I would like to see
easier this week. I said it might be easier this week than the rest of the weeks.
I would like to see us dominate for 4 quarters. That's what I would like to see. And if we don't do that, I'm not going to give up hope. It's going to make me question whether this team has what it takes to win a national championship. Yeah. Going on the road and beating the dog piss out of or the dog crap, as it would say.
Gus Bus.
Yeah. That would show me, hey, we got some shit we can work on, but this team has the ability to go get it and go win it. So
yeah. I would like to see us run the ball, and I'm talking about run the ball, because this Auburn team, the defense, the one weakness that they have is defensive run game. A&M, I don't know how much we can look it up. A&M ran all over them, it felt like, and they busted big plays. Hold on here, I'll pull it up. But I would like to see that. I'd like to see the run game look a lot better. Let's see. Hold on. Let's pull it up right here. This is great radio. A&M ran for a total of 209 yards. Georgia should do that.
At least, right?
Yeah, we should be up there in 160 range, 170. Well, yeah, but that should be the bar that we shoot for. I would like to see us start off fast, quiet the road, quiet the home crowd. I don't know how many possessions we'll get. Probably a lot, given how shitty their offense is. So, scoring fast and getting up on them quick
That'll help.
That would help a lot. I think if we can get up 14-0, 17-0 midway second quarter, they'll quit. They'll give up,
And their fans will start leaving.
and their fans will leave. So if we can just punch them in the mouth first thing, they'll drop. They'll be what's the knockout Joe Glass. That's who they'll be. Also, here Auburn's secondary is really banged up. I don't know if you heard or
No.
it's bad. It's been banged up. It's hurt. I'm with you. The sideways passing game. If we can attack vertically and hit on some of those, that's how you shut up a crowd.
Yeah.
Hit Arian Smith over the middle running a 40-yard route. That'll quiet them really quick.
Totally agree.
And I think it's gonna have to happen. It's gonna have to happen. Auburn's secondary is really banged up, so we should attack it and get after it.
By the way, I don't know quarterbacks, but wouldn't you agree on deep balls after being at the game, watch it? He needs to put a little more air under the ball.
The first pass, yeah. Second one, he threw that perfectly.
Oh, well, Arian should have caught it, right?
Yeah, that was a perfect pass.
Anyway, deep balls, I would just say.
But man, he throws a better deep ball than Stetson does.
Oh yeah,
both in
he's
person.
got plenty of arm, man.
Yeah, I saw almost every game Stetson played in person, and I've seen 2 of Carson Beck in person. He can throw a really pretty ball.
Yeah,
so,
no doubt.
Carson Beck.
It's almost too pretty.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's on a line. It's a laser 50 yards down the field. It's like,
hey man,
put a little air under that thing.
They stick the long ball.
Yeah, well,
if it's a nice spiral. Anyway. All right. So let's do score prediction. Give me Georgia's first, and then Auburn's next.
I say we score 42 points.
Okay, and Auburn
10.
That might be a little too high. I think Georgia's going to win this game. I think they're going to win this game 34-3, 42-0. I think, dude, I'm telling you, this offense sucks. I've watched it too much. It has taken life off of me. So I'm going to say Georgia skunks them. Why not?
Really?
Yeah, I really do.
What's Georgia's score?
I'm going to go, I don't know if I want to go 32 or we're playing for pride here. And it would make me feel really good if I got this exactly on the nose. I'll say, how much did we score last year on them? Wasn't it like, it was 42, wasn't it?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Oh, shit. I have to go back in time. This is another great radio segment. This is like
what I remember from that game.
What?
Stetson Bennett's run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was there for that. I missed a touchdown, which was terrible. By the way, that stadium got so loud. That was probably one of the loudest moments.
Run?
Yeah. It popped, man. It was loud. Probably the loudest all season. So we won 42-10.
So I really didn't know that. I swear to God, I didn't know that.
I knew that because I knew that was close to last year's score. I'll say we dipped down because it's on the road and the offense hasn't looked great. I'll say 35. Georgia wins 35-0. I just don't.
You don't think we're gonna skunk them?
I think it'll be a miracle. It'll be a miracle if they get into the 30-yard line.
All right. Well,
I could be wrong. Dude, I'm gonna hate my life if they go out and score in the first possession of the game. But I just don't. And I know Peyton Thorne has played better at home than he has away, but they haven't played anybody at home. So I don't really know what to make of that. I saw Auburn's offense, and it's worse. It's worse than the 2019 Georgia offense. It's worse than the 2015 Georgia offense.
By far. I mean, I haven't watched them as much as you have. I watched them against Texas. They're incompetent.
Turnovers. They fumble the ball. They throw 50-50 balls.
Yeah, watch them look like a Hugh Freeze offense from Ole Miss. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But they turn over the ball a lot. They have problems with turnovers. I just
What's that
don't.
mentality I just gave you? That's the Larry Munson. Yeah, they sucked all year. Now when they play us, they're going to look like
That is the Larry Munson, and that is the type of things that I hate about Georgia. Also, fun fact for you: Georgia is 18-12 with 2 ties on the road in Jordan-Hare.
They've only played in Jordan-Hare. They've only played, what is it, 18-12? That's 10, 30 games? No. Is that right? 32 plus the ties in
Yeah,
Jordan-Hare?
yeah. Well, and then Georgia's 18 of 17, or they're 17-18 at home against Auburn. So that's what 60.
Why are there so few games on
Well, they just started They just started playing the home and home in 1959.
So we started playing where, in Columbus?
Columbus, and 2 years were in Athens, and then but from the time that we started playing them at Piedmont Park in the 1800s all the way till 1959 or 58, it was all, most of the time it was a neutral site. Columbus, Macon, Montgomery, Savannah.
That's crazy, right?
In Atlanta.
Looking back on it.
Yeah, that is nuts that they had it in Savannah.
Yeah.
I think, I would, we're running long here, but it would be interesting to know where Auburn and Georgia played in Columbus. Like, what stadium was that? Because that, like, 1950s, that was that's a major game in the
50,000 probably. The stadium had to hold that.
Had to be because Sanford Stadium held 60,000 or 40,000 whenever Dooley was the head coach. It was like 50 to 60,000 that when Dooley was the head coach. When he first took over. So yeah, it has to
be interesting. I don't know. It would be really interesting.
And if there's anybody out there, if they could tell me where Georgia and Florida played in Savannah, that would also be interesting. I don't know where they would have played. There's no football stadium.
Yeah, I don't know either.
So if the 5 people that are listening know where exactly the location was, that'd be great. I did figure out where they played their first game, Georgia and Auburn. I told you that.
Yeah, Piedmont Park, the Oval.
Yeah, well, Piedmont, but it was the Activity Oval.
Yeah, Activity Oval.
So I'll have to go there one day.
I have no idea. My experience with Piedmont Park is very limited.
Same with mine. All right. Well, is there anything else before we go?
Go Dogs. That's it.
Well, all right. And check out Don the Dog. Unishippers for all your small business shipping needs.
Unishippers Atlanta.
Unishippers Atlanta, not Minnesota. That's about it. All right. See you guys next week.
All right. See ya.
See ya.